Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Rad Dad Podcast. We have another guest on today, Luke Ferrell from DTF Podcast, Dudes Talking Freedom, once again. So back-to-back conversations with the dudes over there. It's just we've been hitting on this key topic of community and why raising your kids in a great community means a lot, especially in this day and age, being with all the chaos that we live around and live in, and how important it is. And Luke, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the folks, what you do, who you are, kids, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a father of three. I have two-step kids, Avery and Nolan. Avery's 10, Nolan's 8, a boy and a girl, and then a biological daughter, Olivia Gray. We call her OG, and then one more on the way. Come any minute.
September,
now.
right? Next month?
Yeah, just
or any minute. We don't.
And just pretty much any minute. I mean, everything's like, did I sneezed? Do we need to go to labor and delivery? Any little thing that happens, we're just freaking out. Is ready for this baby to come. We just did an ultrasound yesterday, so we're at 34 weeks, and he's supposed to weigh, and it's a boy, and he's supposed to weigh 4.75 pounds. And he's weighing, and we took bets the night before, me and the kids and my wife, and I pulled out the 6-pounder, and we go in there, and he's 6 pounds 5 ounces is what he's measuring. But my daughter Olivia, she was measuring super small, and I don't know, they're saying like 3 pounds, and I'm sure I'm butchering it, but it was way off, and she ended up being 6 pounds 1 ounce. So I don't know. I don't put a ton of credence in their measurement techniques, but it's the best they got.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's a guesstimation at that point. We're like, well, until they come out, we have no idea how much they're going to weigh, how long they're going to be. We've got all this technology, but at the end of the day, it just matters that the kid's healthy. So
right, and you can extrapolate that to like, how old is the universe? And like, how old is this baby? How big is this baby? And I don't know. You could see, in over billions of years, maybe you can get pretty far off course. I don't know. But who knows? I don't know. I don't have a astrophysicist degree or anything, but I have a business degree from Oklahoma State.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad we're talking about numbers. I'm a numbers guy as well. I work in the financial services industry under the insurance area.
Okay.
So it's just risk assessment.
Yeah.
And I emphasize to my son all the time how important math is. And one thing I always say, especially within my business, is people lie, numbers don't.
Yeah.
Show me the numbers. So if I can see how you came up with your numbers and they match up, okay, great. That's a great decision. Let's move forward and go that way.
Yeah.
And I've come across individuals that I do business with on the broker side, and their numbers don't match up to what we have. And I'm trying to explain our value proposition, and well, we're saving your client $200,000, but you polled the employees and they want to go a different route. Like, are we making a financial decision here, or are we just gambling at that point?
Is this a democracy or a constitutional republic? Right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a difference of what their definition of it is and what they're looking to accomplish. But at the end of the day, I still look at it as finances, and you're making a financial decision, since a lot of these, not a lot, all employers are fiscally responsible to their employees for their health plan.
Right.
So I don't understand how they make the decisions that they make sometimes. But it's one thing I try to emphasize to my son is look at the numbers, and if it makes sense, go with your gut.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense, well, just walk away from it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I've walked away from buying cars before because the numbers didn't make sense to me. Different situations in life, and being that's how I look at the world, and that's my perspective. It's how I looked at the pandemic.
Yeah.
I looked at my survivability rate. If I contracted the virus, it was like, well, 99.87% says I'll be all right.
Yeah.
And I thought about my medical history. I thought about my family history. And I was like, I exercise 5-6 days a week. I watch what I eat. I take vitamins. I get outside. I'm good. I don't really care about what's going on out there.
Right.
And what's funny, and it's still happening today. I saw it, 2 days ago, I think. One of the programs on mainstream media was talking about children being 30% unhealthier or obese than their parents
Oh yeah.
were at the same time, in their childhood. And they tried to blame it on climate change.
Right.
And I was like, last time I knew the temperature outside doesn't affect my BMI.
Right.
And it doesn't affect how healthy I am and what I eat and how much I exercise. I mean, it could influence how much you exercise if you exercise outside, but there's gyms inside all the time. So it was just a weird kind of correlation that they drew from some of the data. And it's just, that's their piece that they're trying to go to and they're trying to concentrate on. And it's look at the shiny thing over here when this is really going on over here. And it's no secret that children consume more sugar now than ever. And there's sugar in everything.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I try to teach my son within his nutrition is, no, you can't have that. He wanted a snack the other day before hockey tryouts. He grabbed a Twix ice cream out of the freezer. And I was like, no.
Those are good.
No. They are good. I've had them before.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a good choice.
Right.
I was like, yes, you need simple sugars for the activity that you're going to do, but that's got way too many in there. And you could make a smarter decision. You can make a smarter choice. So it's those little choices at home that the kids will remember on, hey, I remember at one time I wanted ice cream before practice and Dad said no.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up is, I grew up playing baseball out in the Texas heat.
Yeah.
So it was, you needed to be hydrated. And this was back in the day when they were still recommending salt tablets.
Oh, yeah.
My dad would give me salt tablets and I'd play catcher. I'd be okay. And data came out later saying that you should do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay. So, but I look at it as it's a lesson learned, and we were able to take that data and look at it and make a different decision and say, okay, maybe I shouldn't take salt tablets anymore.
Yeah.
And move on. And it's trying to teach those small things to your children that will help reduce that 30% more obesity rate from children. When they have children, it's less than that.
Right. It's quantum theory, right? Like we're all quantum beings, right? So when you start to, when you look at a quantum being and start recording what's going on with that quantum being behaves differently, right? So basically what you're saying is to log the data, right? Figure out what's going on and why it's happening, log the data, and analyze the data and make different decisions as a result of the data analysis, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, I think that's great. I think that the other thing that has changed children's behavior essentially is technology, right? Like, it's so much more comfortable. Our day-to-day life is so much more comfortable. It's just a world full of marshmallows and root beer streams and lollipop trees, right? Like everywhere. So people are so comfortable that when they go outside, there's an arbitrage there, right? Like it's 68 degrees in here, there's a nice cool fan. I'm playing my Xbox. I'm eating my Twix. But then I go outside and it feels like 110. But when I was a kid, it was like 76 inside, 78, and I'm just playing the Nintendo, right? And I'm just eating chips. So it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder. There's more technology that keeps us comfortable.
Yeah.
And I tell people that's part of the reason I still work out is I want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want to try something that I suck at, which is why I have an obsessive personality. Yeah. And I've jumped into ice hockey lately. I learned how to skate 10 months ago.
No kidding.
Now I play in a league.
Awesome.
And I played in the tournament. And I'm just like, I hate sucking at things.
Yeah.
But I have an obsessive personality where I want to do it. And I want to do stuff that I suck at because not only is it going to challenge me mentally and physically, but it's also going to build new neural pathways and make my brain more plastic. So it's challenging me and keeping me young in that aspect. And it's a hell of a workout.
Yeah.
And when you tell people you play ice hockey in Texas, they just look at you like you're a different person, aren't you? Like, yeah, I'm smarter than all of you.
Yeah.
I say that because it's 100 degrees out during the summer, 100 plus. And all these parents are at the soccer fields and baseball fields, and I'm in a 40-degree arena with my son that plays ice hockey, or I'm on the ice. And I'm just like, what else could you ask for? It's cold in here.
Yeah, you want a snow cone on a hot day? Hell yeah, I do.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Squirrels are icing their nuts, right? Like, it's great.
So last episode we had Vince on. He talked about how you guys started the podcast during the pandemic and why it was important. And I feel like it helps people stay sane. And I had one location I worked at during the pandemic since I was sent home from my office and then never returned back to office.
Yeah.
And it kept me sane to have that personal interaction with people
Fellowship,
and that connection, that fellowship. And that's what I talk about all the time is it's what's missing in society right now. You can't disagree on anything and people walk away and you lose friendships. And the most recent Rogan podcast, he had Seth Dillon on from Babylon Bee.
Yeah.
And they had a great conversation about abortion.
Yeah.
And they disagreed. And both of them, after the conversation ended, were, isn't this so nice? We can have a conversation about a very interesting topic and a very flammable topic. And we can disagree and then still be polite to each other and be nice. And I think Rogan just said, like, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, there needs to be less assholes in the world. And if you're just a nice person, that's who you are at the end of the day, it's going to go so much further. And he said, that's what I try to teach my children is just don't be an asshole. Be nice to people. Treat them like you would treat them in person. And, you know, they discussed the veil that people have behind social media. Mm-hmm. Like, would you say that to that person's face?
Yeah, it's their safe space. Right?
No. Well, then don't say it on social media. Don't type it in there. I can't remember the last interaction I had on social media with another person that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Where we were on opposite sides of the spectrum. We were arguing, not discussing something. And I can't remember the last time that happened because I stay away from that stuff. I know people feel safer since they're, keyboard warriors and they're safe behind their screen. They never have to see me.
Right.
Because some of the stuff that those people say on social media will get you punched in the face.
Yeah.
Or at least when I grew up, it would get you punched in the face.
Salt
in the
tablets and bloody noses, right? Like,
so tell me about your experience with starting it, how you started within the community. By the way, I love Windsong Ranch, love the community. You're actually a third resident that I've had on from Windsong Ranch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a great area. I understand why people choose it, and it's very close, and it's a little kickback to Americana is how I look at it.
100%, yeah. When I grew up on a street with, all kinds of boys, and we all hung out and played backyard everything together. And as I grew, I was like, there's no way that I'm ever gonna, find a community like that again. But, maybe I can get to a fraction of a community. But then we stumbled upon Windsong Ranch 3 years ago up in Prosper, Texas. And it's everything that was and more, it's just so much community. Everybody wants to, and really the COVID experience really kind of helped, throw a little kerosene on that tire fire of community, and I don't know. It's just fantastic, we hang out together. There's a group of us that go on vacations together, so we know that everybody has each other's back. So we absolutely love that. And all the dads, one of kind of like the cornerstone roles of a dad, period, is to get their children out of their comfort zone, right?
Yeah,
I think that's so important, right? And that's what they're doing on social media, is staying in their safe space. They don't want to get out of their comfort zones, and they're hiding behind, their keyboards, right? So I think that it's awesome that you got your kid out there playing hockey, and doing anything that's making them feel uncomfortable, So I think that's super important. And I think that, a little bit of the Dudes Talking Freedom podcast has to do with that as well. We're talking about some uncomfortable topics, and kind of my role in life really is just to kind of keep things funny, right? And that's my goal, is just try and laugh about everything, make a joke about everything. And sometimes my jokes, they probably cross the line, here and there, but
a good joke will cross the line.
That's right. You got to walk the line, there's no fun. It's no fun right down the middle, you got to be out there in the Six Sigma events, right? It's just like, let's hang out at the end of the bell curve, right? So yeah, that's where, what we're talking about and what we're discussing on Dudes Talking Freedom is all the stuff that the mainstream media isn't talking about. And the distribution of the bell curve is really, centric, and it's all just the same narrative over and over and over again. In fact, there's a company called Shepherd Broadcasting Corporation, which owns most of the local TV news stations. And I've seen all these clips where they just run the same news anchor or same night, different news anchors saying the exact same things, the exact same lines, verbatim, all across the country. So it's just messaging that's coming from a corporation called Shepherd Broadcasting Corporation, right? So,
sure. There's one thing that you want your kids to know. What is it?
That I love them, I think that's it. I think it's just that simple, that I love them, and things will never be so bad that, things just don't ever get that bad. There's always going to be tomorrow. You always live to fight another day. And, you always have your community and the people that love you around you. And as long as you focus on that community and your family and the people that love you, then, anything's possible.
No, that's the perfect way to end. It's a great piece to leave our kids with is, know that you're loved, know that it's not that bad, lean on the people around you. And if you lean on the people around you, you'll see a little bit piece of your dad in there and almost everybody. So, hey, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. I can't wait to be on your podcast as well. It's going to be fun. And everybody tune in next time and subscribe, like all that good social media stuff so we get this podcast kicking and rolling, rocking and rolling. Have a good one. Thank you. Thanks for joining Rad Dad Podcast, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.